There are chapters in our existence, in our experience, in our story, of which we want to rush straight through without stopping, because we have our eyes set on a later place, a later time, and somehow we feel we cannot be bothered by what lies between us and our goal. Jacob had his mind prepared for a place in a land of his own possession, a place of resting, a place of peace. At this point, his long life conflict with his only brother is finally reconciled, and he is very near home. Here, in Jacob's story, he has his goals, he has his wife's, he has his children, he also has his experience with prevailing in victory with God, and he has his inner peace. He is headed home to reunite with his aged father, but chapter 35 stands in his way. Chapter 35 is the chapter of the in-between, the chapter of the not yet, and a chapter shrouded in the fog of the future still to be experienced. What about you? Could this also be your story? Could this be where you are now in the in-between? I'm saying you have your destination fixed in mind, don't you? You have your goals clearly articulated, marked on your calendar, on your desk, and on your wall. Is that true? You have your dreams penned in your journal and just as indelibly written in the ears of your friends and family members. Is that right? Now, if you could take a peek at the chapter or chapters that lie between you and this goal of yours, between you and that promotion, between you and that relationship with that special somebody, between you and that dream family or dream retirement or dream success or dream opportunity, would you, if you could, peek into the pages of that chapter to see what's coming next? Peer into the paragraphs that lie between? Would you? Would you really? Jacob might have, if he could have, but he couldn't. And I don't think he would have liked reading the chapters that you and I have the privilege of reading for ourselves in the scriptures in which his life and ours are eternally written. No, I think sometimes the not knowing the details allows us to get through the trials ahead. But still, sometimes we get to see glimpses. I wonder what dream of their future came to Jacob when Joseph, Rachel's true firstborn son, opened his eyes for the first time. I wonder what dream Jacob reached for when he took hold of that angel's heel begging for a blessing. I wonder what nightmare of a future Jacob glimpsed when he looked into the faces of his sons when they came back from taking their vengeance on a people showing no mercy. Death. Chapter 35 was a chapter of death to Jacob. From what is recorded for us in this compact section, death was at every turn for Jacob. Not for him, but for those that he loved the most. At one place, closer to his destination, the woman who perceivably helped to raise him, Deborah, his mother's Rachel's servant, nurse, died. She was a constant pillar of a figure in his difficult life, always there, always attentive, always supportive. The last maternal tie for Jacob to his childhood and sweet days before when he felt love. They buried her under the shade of a tree, which they for generations since have called the tree of weeping. Not far away, Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, went into hard labor with her second son, and there were complications. and the baby lived, and the mother did not. And when Jacob reached his homeland, he found his father holding out open arms to him, but near death, with numbered days to cherish, numbered days to make things right, numbered days for Isaac to be a true father, and numbered days for Jacob to receive his love. Waiting had its price, and with the passing of time came the blessing. Because Esau, the many years before, he had imagined a future for himself, that in one day when his father died, he would kill his brother. But those days and those thoughts over time had changed. That hatred had somehow, in some way, in stories we are not told, shifted to a fondness and an affection for his brother in which he used to hate. And so they buried their father side by side in relationship. Death, yes, but life as well for Jacob. Because when Deborah died, in the next verse, God spoke to Jacob with a blessed future to live. Because when Rachel died, Jacob received his 12th son. Because even though Isaac died, Jacob was standing under the arm of his estranged brother in peace. A sad chapter, yes, but a chapter also full of promises fulfilled. His brother Esau is then settled in chapter 36, and in the next chapter, 37, opens with Jacob setting into the land and story of his family and of the generations that would follow. In Genesis chapter 37, verses 1 through 11, it reads, Jacob lived in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was pasturing the flock with his brothers. He was a boy with sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a robe of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, Hear this dream that I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf arose and stood upright. And behold, your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf. His brothers said to him, Are you indeed to reign over us? Or are you indeed to rule over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and his words. Then he dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers and said, Behold, I have dreamed another dream. Behold, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me. But when he told it to his fathers and to his brothers, his father rebuked him and said to him, What is this dream you've dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you? And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the sayings in mind. Dreams are fantastic, fascinating, and fickle things. Dreams make a person. Sometimes dreams make a person successful. Sometimes dreams make a person go crazy. Sometimes dreams make a person a little too idealistic. Dreams sometimes tells us what is in our own hearts, hidden even sometimes from ourselves. Dreams sometimes tell us what is inside the heart of God for us, often to our own shock and later to our own unexpected comfort or discomfort. Dreams sometimes tell us that we ate something too spicy for dinner last night. Nevertheless, what shall we do with our dreams, night dreams or daydreams? How should we respond to them? Well, for Joseph, he should have kept his mouth shut. His reactions to his dreams shows truly immature judgment, but from a truly innocent heart. He did not understand how the world around him worked. He did not understand the complexities of carefully navigating the threatening environment around him. He loved his brothers, a true man of excellence, even though they did not love him in return. He had a keen sense of what was right and what was wrong, and was not inhibited to say it when he saw it, even though it caused him great suffering and pain. How did Joseph grow up this way? Not from his father, the deal-maker, the schemer, not from his mother, the proud and oppressive, certainly not from his brothers, the jealous, the murderous. Where did Joseph get his character and virtue? We don't know what we can't see. About ourselves, however, we might respond, about why we are the way we are. Well, I am the way I am because I came from a messed up family, a bad environment, a bad neighborhood, no opportunities, no resources, no connections, no role models. That's why I can't. That's why I haven't achieved all I could have, gone as far as I should have, done what I ought. That's why I have these addictions, these weaknesses, this temper. You might have all you needed. That's why you're successful. That's why you're so positive. That's why you're so nice. But I never had that. If I only had, then I could have, then I would have, but no. I'm not, I haven't, I didn't, because of, and now my dreams are empty. My future is bleak. My opportunities dried up. Joseph, however, stands in front of us as this boy in his teens that was handed a rotten trajectory, a compromised character, placed in a position that should have corrupted him and given him a spoiled attitude, a spirit of entitlement, a bratty disposition, a bossy demeanor, and a cutthroat impulse in order to survive 10 older, bitter brothers. But instead of any of those characteristics, he was pure of thought, innocent of attitude, genuine in expression, naive in acceptance, and true to the God of his father's story. And to this one, God gave glimpses into what God was going to make happen. Jacob probably said to his son, Joseph, I know what it's like to have dreams. I know what it's like to want something you don't have. Recognition, respect, affection, and adoration from your brothers. But you have to be realistic. But sometimes the only thing we know to say is the very thing that we've heard from our own parents. Don't take it to heart, he must have told him. Parents know what it's like to live through disappointment. Disappointment in each other, disappointment in themselves, disappointment through hard times and self-realizations from many years in the making. Rachel's dream was to be the best and to stay the best, so she pushed her sister down. Jacob's dream was to be loved, so he gathered people around him to love him. Leah's dream was to be loved by the one who wanted to be loved. How long will we chase those dreams, and to what end? Dreams are what makes up the difference between where you are and where you want to be. But with God, dreams are different. God's dreams are bigger than our dreams, as much as God is bigger than we are. In fact, I will say we rarely have dreams, true dreams. And the things we call dreams are in fact nothing more than imaginings. Dreams are not imaginings. Dreaming is something bigger than your reality has ever been or you can ever conceive. Imagining is simply conceiving a variation on your reality already lived, an improvement, an upgrade. It's an empty hope based in longing for something you know about that you do not have. A dream, however, is a reality yet unimagined and completely out of reach. When we think about the future and how we would like it to be, we think from our own experience and perspective and projection. So what we call dreams are always deeply rooted in us and what we can achieve given enough time and the right resources. Imagining a post-quarantine time, for instance, where everything goes back to normal, or even a new normal, is still just imagining. We are asking, how can my future reality be improved, be an improved version of now, and what has been before that I appreciated and miss? Dreaming of a whole new reality will bear little resemblance to our current reality. It will be some place you've not gone before or could have ever imagined. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9 explains of God's dreams for us. Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has entered into the heart of man the things that God has prepared for those who love him. As believers in a personal dream-giving God, we need to dream, not imagine. We don't imagine an improved life where things are shinier than they have been or are now. We, like Jacob, have glimpses of an eternity future, a dream of a whole new life given by God, a fraction here, a snippet there, only glimpses given to us by God in his word. As a church, we don't just imagine a new reality. We dream images where we cannot currently see the pathway between here and there, or the steps or actions or sacrifices or adventures that could have even existed, might exist between the two. Or maybe we're scared to think that what they could be. Could Jacob have ever imagined that someday his son Joseph, no matter how much pride or confidence he had in Joseph, be a great ruler of the country of Egypt? Could Abraham, without the dream God gave him in the sand and the stars, ever imagine that his descendants would come back to prosper in the land he had left in such confusion? What God gives you is certain. You must accept that you do not understand it yet. So wait. Keep your patience. Keep your peace. There is a time to speak and a time to keep silent. But like Jacob, keep it in your mind, because that glimpse of the future has been given to you to sustain you when people hate you, reject you, and your future seems dry and empty and hopeless. What is Joseph's dream? The same dream that was his father's, to be reconciled with his brothers, to be in relationship with them, and sadly for the first time. Joseph didn't understand his dream that God gave him, wondering out loud in the hearing of those who didn't want to see him succeed or prosper or even to be in relationship with him in any way. Publicizing his dream did nothing but harm to himself, but God still turned it around for good. Before him, Jacob, as a boy, heard a dream that was greater, that the greater would serve the lesser. He interpreted it that Esau, his older brother, his stronger brother, would serve him. Esau resisted that same interpretation, but God had not made commentary on their wealth or status or age, but had dreams of brotherly relationship that God made come true. King Nebuchadnezzar dreamed of a statue representing the various kingdoms of earth's history, which Daniel rightly interpreted for him. He was the head of gold, and another kingdom to follow of silver, another of bronze, another of iron, and others of clay and iron mixed together. So what did the king do with the dream? He built a statue, all of gold, to force the future, and all under his control to agree to his imaginings of what should come. There are your dreams, and there are God's dreams. We put action behind God's dreams, and we put prayers behind our own. Dreams are dreams because they aren't current reality yet. Dreams that are from God are above and beyond your imaginings. God gave the dream to let Joseph know that there is something more than the life he was experiencing. God's dream for Joseph is a reality where his brothers don't hate him. God's dream for this boy is to help many people who don't know God and know God's love. God's dreams for us are not of a hope, as some would call hope. They are not imaginings. God's dreams are for us, are real and certain, and aren't dependent on how much we can achieve apart from God, but how far we can go with him. What dream has God given you? To be famous? To be influential? Then care about the person next to you and seek their good, no matter who they are. Seek their good for a long, long time. If you can't or won't benefit the one, you should never be in front of millions. What dream has God given you? To bring people to God? To bring people into a relationship with God? Then seek God and what his righteousness truly is, and your life will be your testimony rather than just your mouth sharing dreams to those who already hate you and will also hate those that are like you. What dream has God given you? To make a difference in this world? To right the wrongs of society and bring peace and justice to factions and people groups and nations? Then you make right the relationships with your own family members first, taking on the burden of peacemaking in the intimacy of your own family before you try to help anyone else, and you won't seek to achieve anything good in this world later. God's dream for you will always benefit more than just you. God's dream for you will require your whole self to be invested. God's dream for you always begins now, in the in-between time we want to rush right through. We only dream in pieces. God dreams of creating the whole. We dream for ourselves, and only so far as we can see. God dreams for billions and for generations to come. Our dreams come true so far as we can achieve them. God's dreams are certain because he will do them. Remember, when we are confused, God is not. When we fumble what God gives us, God still has us and will make his dream for us come true. What about you? What is your dream bottled up inside your soul? Is it from God? Then it will come to pass. Is it from you? Give your dream to God, because God cares. He is the master of weaving all stories together for the good of those who serve him. Keep your dream in mind and move forward with innocence of character, trusting God, doing your work, and living your life faithfully in the big as well as the small things of life. Pray with me. God of dreams, be God of our future and of our heart longings. We trust you. Thank you for being the God of our story. Amen. Amen.